of a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Counselor Baker.
Here.
Counselor Baker. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Siomo.
Present.
Counselor Edwards. Counselor Asabi George. Counselor Flaherty.
Here.
Counselor Flynn.
Here.
Counselor Janey.
Present.
Counselor McCarthy.
Here.
Counselor O'Malley.
Present.
Counselor Presley. Counselor Wu. And Counselor Zachem. Mr. Vice President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I would ask that all councilors and guests please rise. Councilor Presley will now introduce Reverend Andrea Payne.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And it is to everyone, and it is especially lovely to see so many youth here in the chamber with us today. It is customary in the Boston City Council when we convene as a committee in the whole to begin each meeting with an invocation, and we welcome this is an interfaith sort of experience, and so this morning we're bringing a spiritual seeker, a minister, an artist, and an earth champion is how she would describe herself, the Reverend Andrea Manueletta Payne. And as she says, she is passionate about co-creating a world that honors the interconnectivity that is inherent in all life and sees the divine in everything. Reverend Payne is a graduate of One Spirit Interfaith Seminary located in New York City. She resides in Dorchester. She's also a graduate of Beaver Hill Country Day School in Chestnut Hill. She has a bachelor's degree from UMass Boston, a master's of science degree in journalism from Columbia University. And in June 2018, this spiritual seeker and this woman of many gifts will officially assume her position as minister of a spiritual center, which she will be calling the One Infinite Creation Ministries, to open in Jamaica Plain in June of 2018. In addition to all of her spiritual stewardship, she also is in ministry and community and building healthier communities every day, and I consider her a partner in that work. She is a communication strategist and grant writer for the Timothy Smith Network, a Roxbury-based nonprofit organization that is dedicated to using technology to create pathways to higher education and careers for the residents of Old Roxbury. Without further delay, I present to you our faith leader for the morning, Reverend Andrea Payne.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. How are you? Do we get to sit?
Yes.
Okay. Sit.
Oh, well, they'll stand for the prayer.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and for the Pledge of Allegiance after the prayer.
Okay. Well, I kind of wanted to do something that honored the creativity within us all. So it's a little bit different. I hope you just bear witness with me. But first, I wanted to just thank you, Councilor Presley, for this honor. I really am honored to be here, and I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. So thank you for it. So in honor of the creativity that we all are, I decided to do a prayer poem. And it's a poem that I wrote a while back, and it honors a part of me that is a minister and an artist and an earth champion. And so it goes, we're putting a thick layer of prayer around this world. We're spreading it rich like jam on bread till we give birth to a new earth where divine love, unity, and light reign supreme. Our lives shine bright as sunbeams. Yes, we're spreading a thick layer of prayer, rich like buttered bread round the earth till we give birth to peace and harmony. And we recognize the divinity in you and in me. Oh, it's time, people, don't you feel it? Yes, it's time, people, don't you see it? To evolve, to create the world of our choosing and end this illusion of separation, because in truth, there is only one of us. And for that one, there is enough. enough food, enough clothing, enough shelter, enough water, enough quality education for our young ones up there, enough enlightened health care, enough love. Yes, there is enough for everyone, for the one. We're putting a thick layer of prayer round this world till we give birth to a new earth where birds, bees, and fleas' knees are honored for the gifts that they are. Yes, it's time, people, don't you feel it? Oh, it's time, people, don't you see it? To birth the new earth where all life forms are held sacred and life is a joyous expression of the one. We're spreading a thick layer of prayer around this world. We're spreading it rich like jam on bread as we honor our beloved earth. Yes, we're putting a thick layer of prayer around this world, spreading it rich like buttered bread till we give birth to 1 billion people loving, healing, transforming earth now. And may the one infinite creator help us. So it is. Amen.
So it is. Amen. Thank you, Reverend.
Yes, I know this is a bit much, but I did do one thing that I want the city councilors to read together. Is that?
I think only in the interest of time, because
Okay.
we began
All
the
right,
meeting
that's
a little
fine.
late.
That's fine.
But the Reverend has graced us all with a prayer that is on our table. So in your own meditation, and we'll also have you back.
Thank you. I'm so
Okay.
honored to be here, and I hope you all have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing your
Yes,
gifts.
thank
and
you.
your wisdom.
You're
Now
welcome.
stay right here, Reverend. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Someday.
Thank you, Council Presley and Reverend Payne, for your invocation. And before I begin today's meeting, I'd like to acknowledge our students and teachers from the Boston Green Academy. Thank you for coming today. Okay. Sorry. Communications. Councilor Janey, you have a presentation?
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also want to acknowledge our young people in the House. Thank you so much for being here. I introduced myself to some of you. My name is Kim Janey. I'm on the City Council, and it is truly an honor to stand here before all of you to honor and recognize a true hero in our midst. So I'd like to invite Sergeant Roman Colon to please join me here at the podium. Thank you. So I know you've seen his face around our building. Thank you so much for being here. He is one of our Boston Municipal Protective Services officer, and he is, in fact, a true hero. As all of you know, 4 weeks ago today, I stood right here and presented a resolution to Felix de Arroyo in recognition of his 70th birthday. The very next week, on May 4th, he suffered a heart attack right here in City Hall, fell and hurt his head. His heart had stopped beating. But because of, please come up, because of Sergeant Colon was on the scene, he was a first responder, he literally saved Felix's life. He did chest compressions, he did the defibrillator, and Felix after that was in a coma, but had it not been for Sergeant Colon, we could have lost him. And so I also want to acknowledge the EMS workers, certainly members of your team, Chief Joyce, for having a very professional group of individuals, women and men, who serve us here and make sure that we're safe. Again, very grateful for your dedication, Very grateful for your quick response and that you were on the scene because of your actions, because of the MS, because of the doctors, because of the power of prayer, because of Felix's own resiliency and determination to stay here. We now have him back. I don't know if some of you have seen, but he is back with us, and all very grateful. It has been a difficult last 2 weeks. Thank you for your prayer. And on behalf of the entire Boston City Council, we just want to recognize you as a true hero. So I do have this to present to you, and it just says, it's an official resolution. Be it resolved that the Boston City Council extends its deepest gratitude to Sergeant Roman Colon Jr. in recognition of his heroic first aid efforts to save the life of Felix D'Arroyo and his nearly 20 years of dedicated service in the Boston Municipal Protective Services. So thank you so much. There's more, but I won't go on. I know we're starting late. Thank you so much. Would certainly invite members from your team as well as my colleagues to come here and take a few photos. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for indulging me.
Oh, of course,
Thank you.
of course. Didn't break my glass. So do I just say approval of the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Councilor Janey, for that presentation. Madam Clerk, can I have approval of the minutes? If there are no corrections to be made, the minutes of the last meeting will stand approved. Seeing and hearing no objections, the minutes are so approved. Madam Clerk, communications from His Honor the Mayor.
Docket number 0804, message and order authorizing the City of Boston, acting through its Department of Neighborhood Development, to accept and expend payments in the amount of $30 million given to the city's Boston Inclusionary Development Policy Fund for the purpose of producing and preserving affordable housing in the City of Boston.
Please assign docket 0804 to the Committee on Housing and Community Development.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to read dockets 0805 and 0806 together?
Please.
Thank you. Docket number 0805, message in order to reduce the FY18 appropriation for the reserve for collective bargaining by $1,013,216 to provide funding for the Boston Public Schools and the City Housing Trust Fund for the FY18 costs contained within the collective bargaining agreement between the Boston School Committee and local painters 1952 Painters and Allied Trades District, Council number 35, school custodians. Docket number 0806, message in order approving a supplemental appropriation of $1,013,216 to cover the FY18 costs contained in the collective bargaining agreement between the Boston School Committee and local 1952 Painters and Allied Trades District, Council number 35, school custodians. The terms of the contract are September 1st, 2016 through August 31st, 2017, and September 1st, 2017 through August 31st, 2020. The major provisions of the contract includes base wage increases of 2% in September of each fiscal year. The agreement also contains other benefits, including new steps and new housing trust.
Chair recognizes Councilor McCarthy, the Vice Chair of the Committee on Ways and Means.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Dockets number 0805 and 0806. As the clerk read, concern appropriations for the collective bargaining agreement between BPS and local union 1952, the Painted and Allied Trades, District Council 35. Docket number 0805 transfers the funds from the collective bargaining reserve. Docket 0806 authorizes the use of those funds to pay the contract. The bargaining unit's made up of approximately 500 custodians within BPS. Two consecutive agreements extend from September 1st, 2016 through August 31st of 2020. It's an estimated cost of $6.1 million over those 4 years. The language of the contract are typical: limited summer period, vacation time, reduced excused pay absences, increased staffing autonomy in the most challenging buildings, increased flexibility regarding custodian evaluations, established work crews to address minor repairs, and entitlement to the city's paid parental leave benefit. Compensation and other costs include, as the clerk read, a 2% wage increase effective in September for each year of the contract, in addition of new steps at 1% increase, a new clothing allowance of $250 a year, establishment of training and medical fund to cost the training of programs, and an annual medical testing, a monthly contribution towards the custodial prepaid legal services fund. The supplemental appropriation that we are authorizing today in this agreement is $1.013216 million, so a little over $1 million. The Committee on Ways and Means, we held 4 meetings on the collective bargaining agreement since the beginning of this calendar year. This agreement is similar to all of the others we have passed. The similar policy and language changes, cost items, step increases, as well as wage increases. We've seen this schedule before. As Vice Chair of Committee on Ways and Means, I request that we suspend the rules and pass the dockets number 0805 and 0806. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. At this time, Councilor McCarthy moves suspension of the rules and passage of dockets 0805 and 0806. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Docket 0805 and 0806 has passed. Madam Clerk, please read docket 0807.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Docket number 0807, message in order to declare surplus city-owned former Public Facilities Department parcels with vacant building and transfer the care, custody, management, and control of said property to the Public Facilities Commission. The land is located at 48 Tilston Street in the North End District, Ward 3, parcel 02295000, and 50 Tileston Street in the North End District, Ward 3, parcel 02294000.
Docket 0807 will be assigned to the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation. Docket 0808.
Thank you. Docket 0808, message in order for your approval to authorize the sale of certain portion of public way known as 90 Cottage Street, East Boston, as shown on a plan land entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, vertical 90 Cottage Street, East Boston, dated November 21st, 2017, specifically containing about 16.9 square feet and 533 cubic feet, the discontinued parcel.
Docket 0808 will be assigned to the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation. Docket 0809.
Docket 0809, message in order to accept for the benefit of the City of Boston and use a donation from the National Insurance Crime Bureau of a 2014 Honda vehicle. The vehicle will be used during investigations by the Auto Theft Unit and will further the department's overall goal of community policing.
Councilor McCarthy, you have the floor.
It's just... it's just...
I didn't get a note on this. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that, Mr. President.
It's okay.
Yeah, I rise to suspend and pass docket number 0809 at this time. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. The Chair of the Committee of Public Safety and Criminal Justice seeks suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0809. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0809 has been passed.
Docket 0810, message in order to accept for the benefit of the City of Boston and use the donation from 24 Trauma of 30 fentanyl protective gear cruiser kits. Each kit includes a protective overgarment, protective gloves, mask, goggles, and other protective gear that will be kept in a police cruiser and utilized during police response to fentanyl-involved incidents.
Councilor McCarthy, you have the floor again.
Mr. Vice President, at this time, I move to suspend and pass 0810.
Councilor McCarthy, the Chair of the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice, seeks suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0810. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and docket 0810 has been passed.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to read docket 0811 through 0813?
Please, thank you.
Docket 0811, message in order for confirmation of the appointment of renewal constables authorized to serve civil process upon filing of their bonds for the period commencing May 1st, 2018 and ending April 30th, 2021. Docket number 0812, message in order for the confirmation of the renewal appointments of the Inspectional Services constables authorized to serve civil process upon filing of their bonds for the period commencing May 1st, 2018 and ending April 30th, 2021. Docket number 0813, message in order for the confirmation of the new appointments of Inspectional Service constables authorized to serve civil process upon filing of their bonds for the period commencing May 1st, 2018 and ending April 30th, 2021.
The Chair seeks to suspend and confirm dockets 0811 and 0813. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0811 through 0813 has been confirmed under the usual terms and conditions. Reports of public officers and others. Oh. I move for suspension and confirmation of dockets 0811 through 0813. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and docket 0811 through 0813 has been confirmed under the usual terms and conditions. Reports of public officers and others.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to read 0814 through 0816?
Please.
Thank you. Docket number 0814, communication was received from Brian P. Golden, Director of the Boston Planning and Development Agency, regarding proposed minor modifications to the South End Urban Renewal Plan, project number Mass R-56, with respect to parcels X-30A, X-30A-1, X-30B, X-30C, and X-30D. Docket number 0815, notice is received from the mayor of the appointment of Patricia Boyle McKenna as interim chief information officer effective January 29th, 2018. And docket number 0816, notice is received from the mayor of the excuse me, of the contract for payment in lieu of taxes known as the pilot agreement entered into by and among the City of Boston, the Boston Redevelopment Authority, Seaport L-4 Title Holder LLC, and Amazon.com Services, Inc.
Docket 0814 through 0816 will be placed on file. Matters recently heard for possible action.
Docket number 0764, message in order for your approval of an ordinance allowing short-term residential rentals in the City of Boston.
Council Flaherty, you have the floor.
The committee held a working session on docket 0764 on Monday, May 21st, 2018. The ordinance was a new proposal able to produce legislation that addressed many of the concerns that were brought up by this body, including removing the allowance of investor units, fees and number of days allowed for limited share, home share, and owner-adjacent units, as well as data collection and sharing by the city. We had heard testimony from Inspectional Services Commissioner Buddy Christopher, D&D Chief Sheila Dillon, IGR Program Manager Chris English, and DeWitt Chief Patricia Boyle McKenna, alongside with a number of various stakeholders. Concerns, both old and new, were brought up, including the 120-night cap on short-term rentals in 2- and 3-family units, the impact the proposal might have on such owner-occupants, eliminating an industry that people use as a means to make supplemental income, public safety, and notice to abutters, as well as appropriate notice to the council. Lastly, a range of possible amendments were suggested. As it was from the onset, it's a complex matter. I'd like to thank my colleagues for taking the time out of their schedules, especially during a busy budget season, to attend that working session. And also, thank you to you as the chair for being accommodating to accommodate that slot prior to the budget hearing. So the proposal is still a work in progress, so at this time, as chair, I'd like to keep the matter in committee for further action, and feel free to defer it through the chair to any colleague that wishes to opine on the matter.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. At this time, docket 0764, Councilor Flaherty, the chair of the Committee on Government Operation, will stay in the Committee on Government Operations.
And, Mr. Chair, if I may, docket number 0559 through 0581, I can read them all together.
Thank you.
Thank you. Docket number 0559 through 0563, order for the FY19 operating budget, including annual appropriations for departmental operations, annual appropriations for the school department, appropriation for other post-employment benefits known as OPEB, appropriations for certain transportation and public realm improvements, and appropriations for certain park improvements. Docket number 0564 and 0565, capital budget appropriations, including loan orders and lease and purchase agreements. Docket number 0578, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Police Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2019 to support training programs for officers for non-City of Boston law enforcement agencies. The Academy will charge participating outside law enforcement agencies tuition for each recruit police officer or special police officer they send to the Academy. The tuition paid by the outside agencies will be used to purchase training equipment, certify instructors, update facilities, and to provide funds for training needs not otherwise budgeted. The Police Academy will be the only unit authorized to expend from this fund, and such expenditures shall be capped at $100,000. Docket number 0579, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Police Department revolving fund for the for fiscal year 2019 to support the K-9 unit's training program for officers and police dogs from the non-City of Boston law enforcement agencies. The Special Operating Division will charge tuition and other fees to outside law enforcement agencies for the K-9 unit. The tuition and other fees by outside agencies will be used to purchase training equipment, certify instructors, update facilities, and provide funds for other training needs not otherwise budgeted. The Special Operation Division will be the only unit authorized to expend from the fund, and such expenditures shall be capped at $75,000. Docket number 0580, message and order authorizing a limit from the Boston Police Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2019 for the purchasing, lease, or renting space, materials, and equipment to be partially or wholly used by instructional purposes for the new Hackney Carriage driver applications, and providing funds for other training needs not otherwise budgeted. Receipts and resulting expenditures from this fund shall not exceed $100,000. And docket number 0581, message and order authorizing a limit from the Boston Police Department revolving fund for fiscal year 2019 to pay salaries and benefits of employees and to purchase supplies and equipment necessary to operate the police department's fitness center. Revenue from this fund is derived from monthly membership fees. Receipts and resulting expenditures from this fund shall not exceed $250,000.
Dockets 0559 through 0581 will remain in the Committee on Ways and Means. Motions, orders, and resolutions.
Docket number 0817, Councilor
Campbell and
Campbell
Jane. And Jane.
and Janey, because there's another counselor. Councilor Campbell and Janey offer the following resolution in support of 32 BJ SEIU's Security Officers Campaign.
Chair recognizes Councilor Janey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I stand here to recognize the campaign of 32 BJ SEIU for their security officers, along with Councilor President Campbell, who could not be here today. And I do so because security officers play an important role. So earlier, I was proud to recognize Sergeant Colon for his heroism here in this building, but security officers play a similar role, not only keeping us safe in our workplaces and in our residential buildings, and they do so oftentimes in buildings that have financial firms that they see this great wealth. We know that we have this large wealth gap here in Boston, and this campaign can really help us close that gap. We know that our labor unions are really important in terms of helping people reach the middle class, particularly people of color and women, which this covers. And so I wanted to support them today publicly as they renegotiate their contract. They are asking for things that are very reasonable, good livable wages, which I believe we all support here, and certainly affordable health care. These are the things that will make our family strong and therefore our community strong and Boston better. So I am proud to stand here in support of their campaign for a better contract, and I hope that you will join me in supporting the members of 32 BJ and their security officers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilor Presley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Did we call you President today?
Oh, Mr.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, and I just commend the makers for bringing this forward. I'm reminded of the words of Harvey Milk. Yesterday was Harvey Milk Day, and he said, "It takes no compromising to give people their rights." And sadly, it does, and it shouldn't. And just on a base level, we know that good jobs are strong communities, and we know the role and the impact that these security workers play in community. And so I'm glad that we continue to be a united voice in this space and affirming workers' rights. And as frustrating as it is that we have to continue to do that, there's no thanks that should be, really attributed to us. This is not a charity. This is not benevolence. This is about dignity and respect and fairness and justice and simply what they and their families deserve. Everyone deserves to know the joy that comes from economic freedom and working at a living wage. and what that means for your mental and physical health. You know, we're entering into the summer season. People deserve to be able to take a vacation with their family and to have a good quality of life, you know. So we thank the security workers for their laboring every day, for their sweat equity, for all that they do to keep us safe. And again, I appreciate the two makers for bringing this forward, and certainly wholeheartedly support this campaign. And I hope that one day we will get to a place where the words of Harvey Milk are true, and it takes no compromising to give people their rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Would you like to add your name?
Yes.
Yes. Please add Councilor Presley's name, Councilor O'Malley, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Flynn, Councilor Edwards, Councilor Baker. Chair recognizes Councilor Asabi George.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the makers for this order today. My dad was a security guard at Boston University for 22 years, and his employment there, not only in his union protections there, gave us his children the greatest benefit of all, and that was an education at Boston University. And he worked many, many hours to not just give us that benefit, but to also pay the bills. And it is so often the most difficult jobs that are the lowest paying jobs. So with this resolution, I wholeheartedly support and encourage us all to continue to support strong wages across the city of Boston, but especially those that do some of the most difficult work for the least amount of benefit and praise. And I look forward to this effort in particular, but supporting all of our workers in general. Thank you. And please add my name.
Thank you, Councilor Asabi George. Please add Councilor Asabi George's name. Councilor, oh, sorry. Oh, and please add Councilor Zakum's name. Councilor Janey seeks suspension of the rules and adoption of docket 0537. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0537 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Oh, should I,
Docket number 0818, Councilor Edwards offered the following order for hearing regarding land disposition and stewardship.
Councilor Edwards has the floor.
I recently filed an ordinance where when the city was trying, or when a person fell behind in taxes, the city did not provide enough tools, I felt, for a lot of our seniors in order to stay in their homes. And as a result, many of them were being shoveled into foreclosure. And that we filed that ordinance with the hope of providing a payment plan and making sure that they could stay in their homes. Well, this dovetails that conversation of looking at the city and taxes owed. This is dealing with when the house is now foreclosed upon and the city has it. And I wanted to make sure that when it comes to land or when it comes to buildings, that inasmuch as the city now has the stewardship or ownership, be it from our Bostonians or from any other reason, that we're at the table to make sure we understand where that land is going or those buildings. I know currently in DND, BPDA, and several other agencies have different plots throughout the city of Boston. But when they go to dispose of that land, either through a sale or through an RFP, I just feel that there's not a coordinated effort, and many of us, many nonprofits would do well by being able to be at that table and if not be favored to get some of that land and to make sure that they're also steward in that. I think there's a lot of creative ways in which we could be planning and through our land disposition for permanent affordable housing, including land trusts, which I think is an underutilized tool in the city of Boston. There's also land banking that we should also be considering and other cities are doing. And in some cases, when we're dealing with receivership, which is just stewarding of a community, of a vacant building, how are we making sure that the community even knows that they can actually step up, steward, and take care of that building? And the cost that they provide in taking care of that building can be a lien on that home. And if there is an eventual foreclosure, that the community can end up owning it. There's a disconnect. That is a tool that's available, and that's not a tool that we're using enough. So with all of these tools in our toolkit to make sure that we're disposing of land, This hearing is to make sure that we're talking about that disposition, making sure that we're favoring Bostonians in that disposition, and assuring that in that disposition, we are continuing to preserve and create permanently affordable land and housing.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilor Presley.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And thank you, Councilor Edward, for putting this forward. I just wish to have my name added. Just wanted to commend the maker and just thank you for your laser focus in this space. So glad that you are chairing the Housing Committee to look at these issues holistically, to make sure that whatever tools are available to us, that we are maximizing and leveraging them, and that if tools don't exist, that we create them. So just really appreciate your smart, thoughtful, progressive approach to this work, and I wish to have my name added.
Thank you. Please add Councilor Presley's name. And docket 08, please add Councilor Janey's name, Councilor O'Malley, Councilor Flynn, Councilor Asabi George, and Councilor Baker. Docket 0818 will be assigned to the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation.
Council Flaherty, too.
Yeah. Oh, Councilor Flaherty, for what purpose do you rise? Please add Councilor Flaherty's name. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Docket number 0819, Councilor McCarthy offered the following home rule petition for a special law regarding an act providing for concurrent jurisdiction at certain Massachusetts Port Authority properties.
Councilor McCarthy, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Through the chair. If I could add Councilor Ed Flynn in my haste to put this docket together, I did not add his name, if that's possible.
Without objection, please add Councilor Flynn's name.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Last Friday, many of you joined me with a concurrent jurisdiction hearing. Commissioner Billy Evans was here as well with Chief Gross. The state sent Chief Brady, who did a very nice job. He's a Massport police officer, and Tommy Butler, a representative for Massport. The state police did not come. The Massachusetts Department of Public Safety did not come. In fact, we received an email at 9:59 on Thursday, the day before the hearing, and simply put that we will not be attending your hearing. Thanks. We talked about the disrespect. It's been in the papers, it's been in the news. We are a body that represents the people of the city of Boston, and we deserved better than what happened last Friday. I think it was incredibly unprofessional, and it was disrespectful for the authorities that are supposed to protect the people of the city of Boston and to help their quality of life, not to show up. Concurrent jurisdiction, make no mistake about it, is not about details. In fact, Commissioner Evans at many times during the hearing stated he doesn't care about the details. We've got so many details that we can't even fill half the details. There's shovels in the ground everywhere. It's not about the money. It has nothing to do with the money. What it has to do with is community policing. And Boston Police Department does community policing better than any other department in the nation. As elected officials, we here promote the quality of life for the citizens of Boston every single day, whether it's fixing potholes or streetlights or getting our parks ready for baseball. The quality of community policing that Boston Police Department gives is second to none, and the citizens and the new citizens of the South Boston waterfront deserve this service. As I stated in the hearing, which could not be answered by the state, concurrent jurisdiction is a solution. It's not an issue. And I want to thank my colleagues, in particular Councilor Flynn and Councilor Flaherty, for their help on this concurrent jurisdiction issue. I certainly want to thank, God bless you, I certainly want to thank Mayor Walsh and his intergovernmental team who've been incredibly helpful as we moved along together in this process. And I also want to thank Senator Nick Collins for his great leadership up on the Hill regarding this. At this time, I rise today to respectfully request that we suspend and pass this home rule petition to give Senator Nick Collins the tools he needs to protect the people of South Boston. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, and thank you to Council McCarthy for offering this home rule petition. I want to say thank you to Councilor Flaherty as well for his strong leadership on this issue. I'd also like to recognize the important work Senator Nick Collins is doing at the State House, and also the great work of our mayor as well, Mayor Walsh. This home rule petition is important to the residents of District 2 and those across Boston. Residents and businesses of the South Boston waterfront, they work hard, they pay taxes, and they deserve the same protection as the rest of the city. The Boston Police Department is skilled in community policing and has the proper assets to serve those in these areas. We want what is in the best interest of community members and business owners. Boston Police Department, under Commissioner Evans and Chief Gross, is laser-focused on community policing. As I have said before, this issue is about public safety and providing equal access to services from the Boston Police Department to all residents of our city, no matter where they reside. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Flaherty.
Please add my name.
Please add Councilor Flaherty's name. Chair recognizes Councilor Edwards.
Before we, I think, do the right thing, I just wanted to acknowledge not only are folks in Southie going to be protected by this, but the beautiful, huge island of East Boston also shares a great deal of land with Massport. And so thank you for your leadership, gentlemen, and making sure that Massport is, well, brought to the table in a certain sense to help make sure that our communities are safe. As I recognize in the hearing that we had, a lot of the reason why they have to share this is because the burden is all on our guys and women to do the work. And part of that work isn't just showing up when there's a crisis. It's all of the community service, all of the community meetings that they go to, going to the soup kitchens and being there in so many different levels to establish the trust that we need to make sure that they can serve our communities directly. And we just had a massive arrest yesterday, a huge one. It was a successful one. I guess the FBI in Massport and a bunch of gang members and guns were captured. But we still had to back them up, and they need us to make sure that they're doing their jobs correctly. So thank you again, and please add my name.
Please add Councilor Edwards' name. Councilor Baker, Councilor Asabi George, Councilor Janey, Councilor O'Malley, Councilor Wu, Councilor Presley, Councilor Zakhem, and the chair, please. Chair recognizes Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I apologize. I was remiss in mentioning that there were some technical changes made in my original document, so I move for the substitution and the suspension and passage of the document you have in front of you.
Councilor McCarthy moves for substitution. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Councilor McCarthy now moves for suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0819. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Doubt the vote.
Please call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Related to. Councilor Baker.
Yes.
Councilor Baker, yes. Councilor Campbell. Councilor Siomo.
Yes.
Councilor Siomo, yes. Councilor Edwards. Councilor Edwards, yes. Councilor Asabi George. Councilor Asabi George, yes. Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Flaherty, yes. Councilor Flynn. Councilor Flynn, yes. Councilor Janey. Councilor Janey, yes. Councilor McCarthy. Councilor McCarthy, yes. Councilor O'Malley. Councilor O'Malley, yes. Councilor Presley. Councilor Presley, yes. Councilor Wu. Councilor Wu, yes. And Councilor Zakhem. Councilor Zakhem, yes. Mr. Chair, docket number 0819 received a unanimous vote and is passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Docket 0820.
No, she was here all day. Yeah, she was here before it started. Docket number 0820, Councilor Campbell offered the following, the chair offers the following, designating the Law Department for the City of Boston to address the open meeting law complaint and respond on behalf of the Boston City Council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just for a quick explanation, there was an open meeting law complaint from a constituent. In order for the Corporation Counsel to represent the council in this way, this order needs to be filed. Docket 0820 will be placed on file. Councilor Flaherty. For what purpose do
Thank
you
Mr.
rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise for reconsideration on docket 0816. Ask that the matter be assigned to committee.
Thank you. Absent any objection, docket 08, I'm sorry, which one was that again?
816.
0816, the Amazon
Pilot agreement.
pilot agreement. It's a pilot agreement. Move for reconsideration of docket 0816 will be moved to the Committee on Ways and Means. Personnel orders, Madam Clerk?
Docket number 0821, the chair for Counselor Janey offered.
Counselor Janey seeks suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0821. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0821 has been passed.
Docket number 0822, the chair for Counselor Wu offered the
Counselor Wu
following.
seeks suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0822. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0822 has been passed. I am informed by the clerk that there is one late file matter, which in the absence of objection will be added to the agenda. Hearing no objection, the matters are added to the agenda. The clerk will read the first late file matter.
From the office of Counselor Andrea J. Campbell, Boston City Councilor, District 4, May 23, 2018. Dear City Clerk, due to a funeral, I will be absent from today's council meeting. Sincerely, Andrea J. Campbell, Boston City Council, District 4. Be placed.
You're good? Anybody wishing pulling matter from the green sheets? Councilor Presley, you have the floor.
Just unanimous consent to make
Oh.
a condolence statement. I'm just early, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You have the floor.
Okay. All right. Is that okay? Oh, all right.
No one wanted to pull anything from the green sheets. Okay.
And we just need to place the letter on file.
And we're placing Council President Campbell's letter on file. Thank you, sorry.
Okay, no, thank you, Mr. Vice President. And as I say, unanimous consent to offer a tribute and a condolence statement. You know, many of you heard the news and were reeling from the announcement of the sudden and untimely loss of life of Marzik Muhammad, who was only 35 years old. I'm rising today to offer a tribute to another young voice and dynamic person that we've been robbed of much too soon, who was also who was only 32 years old. Earlier this week, a comet, a bright light of hope, activism, intellect, and optimism, a comet and bright light was extinguished far too soon. Yet again, cancer, the evil that it is, has stolen another life, robbed us of a powerful life force, a justice seeker, and a social justice warrior. Someone who was a brilliant and effective advocate and also a loving mom to Caden. She fought fiercely for a more just world and healthier communities. She lived a full, authentic, unapologetic life in her pursuit to actualize her values and to better our world. She was a dear sister friend to many, including our very own Ellie out of Counselor Campbell's office. She was the godniece of my husband, Conan Harris, and beloved by many. Cara graduated from another course to college. She was part of the BPS system and went on to Spelman College in Atlanta. Afterwards, she returned to Boston and served as a Massachusetts Promise Fellow in AmeriCorps for 2 years, one at the AIDS Action Committee and one at the Boston Public Health Commission, supporting youth and building organizational capacity. Afterwards, she continued with the Boston Public Health Commission for 4 years, and more recently, she worked at Harvard. She was a member of the NAACP, and she was also an alum 2014 of Emerge Massachusetts. For those of you that may be unfamiliar with this, the women of this body all have a connection to this organization. I'm a founding board member of Emerge Massachusetts, which is an organization created to recruit and train Democratic women to run and to win elected office. Every woman currently serving on this body, with the exception of myself, is a graduate of this program. Oh, well, okay. Well, most of them. The point is, Cara was an alum of this and had aspirations to run for office, and we all were certain that she would have. If you knew Cara, you also knew that she forged her own path in life. We wish it was a different path today. Sorry. Sorry, guys. You know, let me just digress for a moment.
Do you want me to recess, Counsel?
I'm okay. You know, it's so upsetting, you know, when people will say there's a greater plan and, you know, they're in a better place and all those sorts of things. And I'm just furious because, you know, she was not feeling well, and there were all these symptoms for a long time, and she went to so many doctors, and they all missed it. And by the time it was diagnosed, it had fully metastasized and taken over her body. And I'm furious because the medical community does not listen to women, and really does not listen to women of color, and it happens over and over and over again. And this just didn't have to happen, so it's just so sad. So, anyway, the world was not ready to feel her loss, and we are not ready to feel her loss. And Cara, in her optimistic way, would likely tell us all to take this loss as simply another challenge in life, that we are strong and capable enough and loving enough to get through. She will be remembered for her kind, loving, joyous, and energetic spirit. Cara Matthews, rest in peace and power.
Sorry for your loss, Counselor. Chair recognizes Counselor O'Malley. For what purpose do you rise?
Unanimous consent to make a brief statement
Regarding?
regarding cultural designation.
Okay. Proceed.
Thank you. About 3 years ago, this body passed a resolution declaring the Hyde-Jackson Quarter Boston's Latin Quarter. We had a hearing at the Connolly Library. It was a snowy night. I remember Councillor Wu was there. I believe Councillor Sabi George, Councillor Presley joined me as well. And this had come at the suggestion of youth of the mighty youth of the Hyde Square Task Force. It was a seamless transition, and there was near unanimous support. So we passed the designation at the council level. We've been working with the state level, and I'm delighted to report that yesterday the Mass Cultural Council officially designated Boston's Hyde Square as Boston's Latin Quarter. This is nearly 3 years in the making. We'll be having a press conference tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. With it comes a six-figure grant from the Mass Cultural Council, which is going to really allow us to help beautify and protect it. It's great, obviously, for the local economy. It's great to preserve and protect the rich tapestry of diversity of our neighborhoods, and I'm just delighted, and it all began right here. So I want to thank my colleagues who were part of that unanimous vote 3 years ago, and others who've since joined the board who I know have been supportive as well. So thank you for that. Also, switching gears slightly, another person for whom we will be closing a memory of today is Richard Goodwin. Dick Goodwin is a name many of us know. I had met him a couple of times. I'm friends with his son, Joe, and I was absolutely starstruck every time I met him. He is the husband of Doris Kearns Goodwin, another person who I was starstruck when I met. And he is just a remarkable Bostonian. His life, I mean, he was a top aide to President Johnson, President Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy. I would urge you all, if you have an opportunity this weekend or next weekend or whenever you have some free time, to watch the movie Quiz Show. It's my favorite movie of all time. It's about the quiz show scandals of the 50s. It was in the mid-90s it came out. Robert Redford directed it, and Rob Murrow plays a young Dickie Goodwin. The Boston accent is terrible, but nonetheless, it's an amazing movie to show this remarkable man's life. He died this past Sunday at the age of 86 after a battle with cancer as well, but he was just a remarkable Bostonian, so I know I'm speaking for all of you when we thank him for his incredible service, not only to Boston and New England, but to the country as a whole. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Councilor Edwards, for what purpose do you rise?
In order to discuss IGR.
Proceed.
It's hard enough for many of us to coordinate our schedules, to get to know each other, and to also be on the same page at one time. And I think it is probably, as our Councilor O'Malley has often described us, we are a wonderfully but sometimes dysfunctional but very tight and close-knit family. To be a bridge for that family, to be a messenger for that family, and sometimes to be a whipping boy for that family is not particularly easy. So to do that and also get your master's degree from Boston University is also not easy, and no light weight to bear. To do that and to also be professional, be there when we need you, to answer our text messages, and to deal with this dysfunctional family constantly for before I was even here. And I found out that this is for Neil Doherty, who has graduated and had gotten his master's this past weekend, and I was incredibly impressed at his ability to do that. So. We've all signed a card to you, Neil, and just wanted to note also not only is Neil graduating, but I think it's also another indication of immigrants getting it done. He's a first-generation immigrant to this country, and so I just wanted to say thank you again. I'm proud.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, there is one late file matter, which, absence of objection, will be added to the consent agenda. Seeing and hearing none, the matter will be added. Chair moves for adoption of the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is adopted. Now I'd like to ask all guests and members to please rise. We will now adjourn today's meeting in memory of the following individuals. For Councilor Presley, Luz Maria Villar Lara, Marquez Umar, Cara Matthew, Brady Allard. For Councilor McCarthy, Mary Bilwin. For Councilor Baker and Flaherty, Wieslaw Jack Kowalski. For Councilor Flaherty, Mercedes Barnett. And for Councilor O'Malley, Richard Goodwin. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. The chair moves that when the council adjourns today, it does so in the memory of the aforementioned individuals, and it is scheduled to meet again on Wednesday, June 6th at 12 noon in the Ionella Chamber at the Boston City Hall. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Council is adjourned.